Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shail Bhatnagar on the show. Now, as far as the markets are concerned, unlike the last few trading sessions when the rallies on the Nifty got sold into, yesterday's session began with a dip but that got bought into. The question is, will the move sustain, especially ahead of the RBI policy meet? We will tell you all of it, but first up, the top headlines we're tracking for you this hour. Indian stocks are likely to remain range-bound with a positive bias on Wednesday as overseas cues improve. Index traders turn fence-sitters as they await the outcome of RBI's monetary policy meeting on February 8th. The third quarter earnings are in their final leg with investors awaiting results from Nifty stocks, Nestle, Power Grid and Tata Consumer. And IPO markets abuzz with these new floats, including two small finance banks. Very good morning to all our viewers joining us this morning and very good morning to you, Shail, as well. Well, just like how I was pointing out, it was the second half of the trading session yesterday when the index has usually shown some kind of a tendency to be volatile, but it surprisingly was very stable and comfortably crossed the earlier hurdle of 21,850 as well. It ended near the highest point of the day too. But what's next? Despite this steady up move for our Shail, showcased by the Nifty, we've seen that the volatility index has been rising for the third consecutive session. It's now approaching 16-odd levels. Is that a factor that is going to be increasingly monitorable?
Good morning to you, Sakshi, and a very warm welcome to thousands of viewers who are now joining us regularly on Market Today to get the best online and by-the-ball coverage of how equities are trading. You rightly said yesterday's dip was bought into. 21,800 on the Nifty was very well defended by the bulls, Sakshi, and now a lot of zones are opening up as far as the Nifty options chains are concerned. Let's just put everything in perspective. You know, we are on 7th of Feb, so the first 2 weeks of February's fabulous expiry are up. Now nobody realizes this, that we've already had a 700-point rally on the Nifty. The index as a daily chart is there in front of you. If you see the January 25th low, which was the last day of January's expiry, and Monday was the beginning of February's expiry. So we've seen a 700-point rally, which is about 2.3, 2.4% rise on the Nifty, and we are now standing at the edge of 21,950. Now, Sakshi, 2 or 3 important points have happened. Look at how the foreigners have acted in the last 5 trading sessions. There is positivity all around. For the past 5 sessions, we don't see any sales being pressed by foreign institutional investors. The domestics have been positive, so this is a big plus. The Nifty is today pointing to about the gift Nifty is today pointing up to a 0.5% uptick on the opening quotes. Now 2 or 3 things also have turned extremely positive. Look at how auto numbers have come in. So Tata Motors, the likes of Bajaj Auto, the likes of Hero Motors have supported the index. IT has come back into the picture, therefore you see a record high on TCS happening. HCL Tech was already trading near record highs. These are all helping the Nifty. Now it was the turn of the OMCs. If you look at the weekly picture of the index, Sakshi, it presents a very positive outcome as far as the F&O sector is concerned. about 36 stocks in the Nifty are up on a weekly basis, and you have gains like 15% on Coal India, 7.8% on Tata Steel, Power Grid is up 11%, PPCL is up 28%, ONGC is up 15%, and these are the kind of gains that are coming in. The entire auto pack is up, the entire pharma pack is up. What is lacking? Just FMCG, which has very little weightage, banks, which are a pain. HDFC Bank has done nothing in this F&O expiry as far as February is concerned, and in January it was down 15%. So the pain point is banking, and we have the outcome of the MPC, the Monetary Policy Committee meeting happening for the last two sessions. That will come on the 8th, which is tomorrow at 10 a.m. So that outcome will depend on how banks will perform. I'm sure the Reserve Bank of India's governor, Dr. Shaktikant Das, will be forced to keep interest rates where they are, because there is no movement happening in the US. So I think as far as the index is concerned, Sakshi, 22,000 is coming. The option chain is very, very strong. There is a lot of call unwinding, which means that bears are taking away their positions, the short positions from 22,000, 22,050 and 22,100. So once these open up, the support is also rising. You have a very, very strong support at 21,900. You have a very strong support at 21,750, 800, 850. So the trading range is moving up, and we should see, if 21,100 is taken, then a fresh move in the Nifty is most likely. Buy the dip is back, and that was tested yesterday. So any move towards 21,850 should be purchased by intraday traders. Sakshi, that's what the Nifty looks at, and you have Nestle, Power Grid and Tata Consumer declaring their earnings today within the index.
Absolutely. Well, let's now talk about the Nifty Bank. Shail, even as the Nifty remains a little more stable, it's the Nifty Bank that continues to grind lower, and it has also slipped even further below the 46,000 mark that has been elusive for the last many sessions. The index did find support on the downside, around 45,500. It did manage to reverse about 200 points from the day's low also, but 46,000 mark still remains far-sighted. How do you see this index?
Again, Sakshi, the Bank Nifty is held hostage to a lot of factors which are not under its control, even though if you look at how February's expiry started, which was on 2 Mondays before, the Bank Nifty is still up 1.5%. But the problem with this 1.5%, Sakshi, is that none of the index heavyweights are performing at all. What are the two top gainers in the Bank Nifty in F&O expiry? Punjab National Bank 16.6% higher, Bank of Baroda 10.2% higher. The only contribution that is coming from strength is State Bank of India, which gained about 1% yesterday. It had a very, very strong pull up, just like the Bank Nifty, and on a monthly basis within F&O, it's up 6%. So State Bank of India is helping the Bank Nifty. But we are on the weekly expiry today, it's Wednesday, so this index is most likely to remain quiet. In any case, tomorrow is a major event. So once the outcome of that event is there, you have an inflation forecast, you have what the GDP is growing at, depending upon what kind of credit growth, what kind of view the RBI has on unsecured loans, you will see banking stocks reacting to that positively, but nothing on Bank Nifty today, Sakshi. All quiet. 100-day exponential moving average is providing a very, very strong resistance to any potential up move, and you've seen it down for 3 days. So let's just wait for the weekly expiry on the Bank Nifty to get over.
Okay. Shail, F&O space, any particular stocks on your radar today?
Sakshi, I think we'll pay attention to some of them most definitely, and the first and foremost one that comes to my mind is Berger Paints. Very, very strong set of numbers that Berger had declared. Of course, the counter is at 554, absolutely flat when it comes to the monthly change, but a very, very strong rise in volume, up about 9%. I'm sure you will give a lot of details on Berger. Profit after tax has gone up by 49%, and margin has also improved dramatically. So Berger is on my list, as also we'll be looking at Britannia. Although the numbers are slightly tepid, they have beaten their very, very modest forecasts, and you've seen the PAT slip down by about 40% for the for the third quarter, but this number was better than what was estimated. The best part, Sakshi, in Britannia is that there is volume growth that has come in, and that is to the extent of 5.5%. So people are eating biscuits with tea, which is good. Sakshi.
Okay, let's now look at what the global cues have been shaping up. Overnight, we did see that the S&P 500 closed slightly higher as investors scrutinized a mixed bag of earnings at the big US companies. Of course, they digested comments from the Federal Reserve policymakers for clues about its first planned interest rate cut. The Dow Jones also rose about 0.4% in trade. The Nasdaq did end just marginally higher in trade. Following this, the Asian markets were trading higher in the early morning trading session today, with Kospi gaining about 2% in trade, while the Nikkei trading just marginally in the green as well. But trends in the GIFT Nifty, they are indicating a flat start for the broader markets in India, with just a gain of about 8 odd points. How Shail was pointing out, it's the FIIs that have now turned positive. Last 5 days, they have been net buyers, 92 odd crore rupees bought even yesterday, while the domestic institutional investors purchased about 1,096 odd crore rupees worth of stocks. In terms of the stocks to watch list, Britannia, definitely you need to keep an eye out on. Q3 profit tanking 40% year on year to 556 crores, and that's due to a high base. In Q3 of the last year, the net profit included exceptional gains of 375 odd crore rupees. The revenue has been just modest, about 1.5% growth that we've seen for the company. Nykaa reported its numbers. The Nykaa brand operator FSN e-commerce recorded 106% year on year growth in the net profit to 17.5 crores in this quarter. The revenues also increased by about 22 odd percent to 1788 odd crore rupees as well. The gross merchandise value also saw a growth of 29% on a year basis. The EBITDA also saw a jump of 26% as well. Now, as far as Berger Paints is concerned, what Shail was pointing out, good set of numbers. Paint manufacturing company has clocked in 49% year-on-year growth, with the consolidated profit coming in at 300 odd crore rupees and above that. Now, this was driven by healthy operating numbers and lower input costs as well. We've also seen a slew of hospitality stocks also coming out. So EIH also recorded a 55% kind of a growth on the consolidated profit at 230 odd crore rupees, with the healthy top line as well as operating numbers. The revenues increased 26.5% year on year to 741 odd crores. Nazara Technologies also came out with numbers. We've seen it's registered a consolidated net profit of 29.5 crores for this quarter, growing 47% over the corresponding period of last fiscal. So several such numbers really coming out, and we'll keep an eye out on all of these. Let's now welcome our guest on the show. Gaurang Shah now joins in. He's the Senior Vice President at Geojit Financial Services. Very good morning to you, Gaurang. Good to have you back with us, and tell us, what's the sense that you're making of the markets now? We've seen some bit of volatility. The big events is past us, but the RBI policy is ahead of us. Which way are the markets headed?
Thank you, Sakshi, for having me on the show, and morning to you as well as my good friend Shail and all the viewers of BTTV. I guess we are in a range, to be very honest, and that range could be on the lower side, 21,700, maybe a little bit of selling pressure moving down to 21,600. And this was the view that we gave out on Monday morning. We come out with our market outlook for the week on YouTube, and I had mentioned these levels on the lower side. On the higher side, Sakshi, I think 21,900 to 22,100. Higher level being, of course, the all-time high that we've seen, surpassing 22,125 or 30 or thereabouts. That would be the higher range, wherein you will start feeling a little bit of vertigo, top heavy feeling, and a profit booking could come in. This happened even on Monday, if you actually go to see. We went towards that 22,000 mark, but then we slipped, and we slipped somewhere close to about 21,700, 21,750. That's going to be the broad range. I think this morning the markets are likely to open up with a positive bias. Again, possibly at that resistance level that I've just mentioned. And Q3 earnings, we have whole host of numbers this week. Some of them already announced, some of them to be announced by the time we end this week. And of course, we have the credit policy, which we'll be looking forward to. Positively a pause status quo, but commentary from the RBI governor is what we'll be keenly watching out for. But I think there have been tremendous amount of upgrades in the second quarter earnings, post second quarter earnings, and we've already started to see some upgrades in terms of target prices in the third quarter earning. We've also done that, to be very honest. So it's going to be more of a stock specific story rather than overall market. In case if we move above that 21, 125, 20, sorry, 22, 125 to 22, 35 levels and give a close above that, then the blue sky trajectory opens up.
Right. A very good morning to you, Gaurang, and a warm welcome on Market Today. It's always a pleasure to host you. You've mentioned some upgrades that happened post third quarter earnings. Could you name a few stocks in large caps or mid caps? Let's be market cap or agnostic. Where have earnings surprised you for the positive, and where would these stocks be over the next 6 months to a year?
So let's take a year, Shail. 6 months will be challenging. We have election, so I think it's going to be choppy. Though, somewhere in the backdrop, there is a consensus feeling as to who's going to be forming the next government. But let's wait and watch. So 1 year forward kind of outlook and two upgrades that we have done. Both of them could be, that mid cap, large cap universe shell. First one is IT mid cap company Science Limited. This company, if you go to the shell, has been outperforming, I think it's large cap peers as well, and consistent visibility in terms of earnings. 25 to 2600 is the target on Science Limited post the third quarter earnings. And the second one is from the pipes and pipe fitting theme, Astral Limited. Stock is trading at about 1880, 1890. Astral Limited, our sense is that we could possibly see levels of 22 to 2300. And this is also a proxy play, if you will, share on fallback of recovery that we see in the real estate sector, and of course, house deco, house upgrade, and renovation is concerned. Got a decent market share and commands a decent amount of products in terms of offerings to the customers. So these are the two upgrades that we made post third quarter.
Okay, let's look at Astral in particular. This is a stock that was also suggested by Mr. Sunil Shah. He was the head of Turtle Investment PMS. He came on budget day, and this is one of the stocks that has been a multi-bagger for a very, very long time. The company has also diversified into many streams apart from the pipe business that it has, and these two look fairly good. Scient, of course, from the mid-cap IT space has been one of the outperformers as far as the superb rally that we have seen in the mid-cap space as far as software is concerned. So these are the two stocks that you can look at for a 1 year view, and they are backed by a very, very strong fundamentally oriented tailwind. Gaurang, coming to the energy pack, blowouts are happening on stocks such as BPCL, HPCL, IOC, Petronet, LNG, to some extent NTPC and Coal India as well. Specifically for the OMC segment, are these rallies justified? How do you look at this sector, and would you have a top pick?
So I would possibly put it this way: they were waiting for that point of boil to shoot out, Shell, after a long period of underperformance, consolidation, or sideways moves, whatever you want to call it. And now that fire up is visible, Thankfully, crude oil prices are not at boil despite the kind of disturbances that we have from the Houthi rebels in the Red Sea. Uh, the moment it bumps up because of certain activity, it cools off also simultaneously. So, to be very honest, I think out of the three, that is oil marketing companies, oil exploration companies, and alternative clean and green fuel companies like natural gas and LPG. If you ask me, my personal bias would be more towards this alternative clean and green fuel like of, you mentioned Petronet LNG, likes of IGL, Mahanagar Gas Limited, Gujarat Gas, naming a few. Then, of course, you have the positivity in terms of more positivity in terms of oil marketing companies. So we have coverage on all the three oil marketing companies, HP, BP, IOC. And in the oil exploration side, we are positive on two, ONGC as well as GAIL, and not to miss out one large player from the private sector, that is Reliance Industries. So, I mean, this rally is there, Shell, but my experience and history tells me that whenever we've seen these kind of rallies, they don't last for a pretty long period of time. And since we've seen the rally over the last couple of days, I think these stocks have come to a point wherein you will see a little bit of profit booking and a pull back rather than a push up. So if you ask me whether you should go and invest at current levels where the targets are very close to where we have possibly penciled our targets down.
Okay. Gaurang, also wanted to ask you on the new age tech space. A lot of companies are in focus. I'll start with Paytm. With the kind of news flows that you have seen over the last 4-5 odd days, 4 consecutive days of lower circuits, and then that being bought into yesterday, how would you really look at Paytm now? And the other stocks would be Nykaa and Delivery after the earnings. First up on Paytm, and then we'll discuss Nykaa and Delivery.
So it's a difficult one, actually, to answer in absolute clear terms, to be very honest with you. Because the dust is not yet settled down, clarity is not out there for us to possibly dissect and understand. And and I'm first surprised by the statement made by Mr. Shekhar Sharma that he doesn't know what went wrong. Bro, if you don't know what went wrong, then who will know? You are at the helm. So, I mean, it was quite a surprising statement to his employees. But we will have to wait for clarity. And I think it will take some time for that clarity to come through. Stock is possibly just, stock will possibly be driven, Sakshi, by the market rumors or gossips or whatever unconfirmed news flows from sources. And in that kind of a scenario, I think it wouldn't be prudent on my part to give any kind of comment on that. I would only say that just wait for the dust to settle down, have some clarity, understand that, and then possibly take it.
Okay. And on Nykaa and on Delivery after the earnings, how would you really look at the two companies? There have been some upgrades by some brokerage houses on Nykaa like HSBC that have now a 240 kind of a target price. But do you really see this result as showing a sustainable promise, or is it still under question?
So before I answer that question, Sakshi, let us not forget when all these new age, new technology unicorns were coming out with the IPO, there was all band baja barat on the street. We know the valuation in terms of the share prices that were issued, floor price. We know the listing history, and we know the fall of the mighty. So, especially with FNS e-commerce, that is Nykaa. So, I mean, we need justifiable quarter after quarter performance to take absolute clear-cut calls. If I'm not mistaken, I think on Nykaa, that is FNS e-commerce, we have a coverage. Our targets are already there where the stock price is at 160. On Delivery, well, I would wait for the delivery to really happen.
Okay, well said. Okay, we have to take a break, but before that, if you could give us your top 2 stock ideas for today, and then we'll take a break and then open with pre-open.
So I mentioned two already. One is Astral, second one is Science. But if I may have that liberty to mention one more, and that is post the earnings that we saw day before yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, or last week. Ashok Leyland. Sakshi, we discussed this stock on our show on BTTV, and we had set a target of 210 or 215. But I think post the commentary that was mentioned by the management for the outlook for this financial year and calendar year, I wouldn't be surprised to see the stock going towards 245, 250 levels. And I think they are going to do some really decent business, which will possibly show a number which nobody would have imagined or equated upon.
Right. Gaurang, it was I who prompted Sakshi to take two picks for you from today as well. See, on your own, you gave us earnings upgrade, so we danced on the chance given to us. और जब भगवान दे रहे हों छप्पर फाड़ के, तो we must use this opportunity to benefit the viewers, benefit everybody. Therefore, she asked two picks for today, and of course, two you gave on your own. So that's the reason for this question. What we'll do, ladies and gentlemen, Gaurang is with us. We'll take a very, very quick break, and we'll be back with you in a jiffy, and then you'll have a pre-open session in front of you.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe for multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines, and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today. Celebrate 32 years of leadership in business news with Business Today. From the groundbreaking AI cover of Sundar Pichai to PM Modi's exclusive on G20, we redefine headlines. Now our 32nd anniversary issue explores India 2029, the 5-year agenda with industry titans sharing exclusive insights. So, just BT it for unparalleled perspectives. Business Today, 32 years of leadership, innovation, and business brilliance. Subscribe now.
Welcome back. We have the pre-open rates in front of us. The Nifty is trying to open 250 points higher at 22,162. How I so wish this were true, but it'll settle. The first stock that I'd like to look at is Canara Bank. The company's just informed the Bombay Stock Exchange that on February 26th, it will be considering a stock split. Remember, it's been one of those fabulous stocks that have outperformed all of 2022-23, and the rally is fairly sharp. It's trying to open 1.8% higher at 530. We'll pay attention to it in a little more while. Let's look at the index heavyweight space, ladies and gentlemen. We have a nice decent uptick on HDFC Bank, 3% higher, 1448, but it will not last. The bank will open lower. Infosys 1750, 1.1% higher. Strong move coming in. Remember, TCS, its larger peer, is already at a record high. Therefore, Infosys is playing catch up. On the TCS, 4150, 14 rupees higher. Let's look at the other and the last index heavyweight. What is Reliance doing? Reliance at the moment is flat at 28.59. Let's look at the two index corporate banks, ICICI and Kotak Bank, both opening 0.5% lower. There's nothing much happening on the index as such, but Overall, there seems to be a very strong affinity towards a strong opening. ITC 1% higher, 435. SBI half a percent higher, 654. So all 10 index stocks are in the green, save for Kotak Bank, which is mildly in the red. We'll do a very quick check on the FNO space. Remember, lots of earnings need to get reflected. Sakshi, for you, Nykaa is opening 15% higher, 180. This is something we need to look at. Let's look at the FNO space. That's the something that came in front of my eyes. Berger Paints 8% higher, absolutely blowout performance as far as the third quarter is concerned. 600 rupees ahead of its earnings. Nestle is trying to open 5% higher, 2588. No let up in Indian Oil Corporation, 4% higher, 192. This is a record high on IOC. Let's look at the losing side. Weakness in HPCL, 1.3% lower. No surprises. Power Finance Corporation, 1.3% lower. Muthoot Finance, RECL. There is a very strong uptick as far as FNO stocks are concerned in terms of the advanced decline ratio. Okay. Now let's look at the top gainers in the BSC 500. All earnings plays: Nykaa, Berger Paints, EI Hotels. All three of them are up very strongly. I don't see a thematic play. Okay, even Radico. We did not discuss this earnings, but they are also very good. 1795, 4% higher. Triveni Turbine 3% higher, 438. So the opening is very good. 22,000, ladies and gentlemen, within opening quotes is with the bulls. Let's get ready for a nice session. Sakshi, what have you got?
Well, Britannia is up by 3% odd. Biocon is opening 2.5% higher. Berger, you already mentioned it's 8% up. And Nykaa, at one point in time, I did see a 19% uptick as well after those earnings coming in. So those are some of the stocks that I was looking at. Let's look at Paytm and how that is opening, 5th day in a row. Let's pull up that PCR in case we can look at it. I don't have the so 2.5% higher, 463. That's Paytm for you. So buying happening again on Paytm after yesterday's session there where we saw a sharp recovery from the lower circuit on Paytm as well. So those are some of the stocks that are looking positive at this point in time. Gaurang, to you, how would you really react to the kind of pre-opening trades that we are looking at on some of the stocks? Would you be positive on any of the stocks like Britannia, Berger Paints, Biocon, all of them opening up? We've discussed Nykaa already.
Biocon is one of the sore thumbs, to be very honest, amongst the pharma players, Sakshi, and a terrible underperformer. But I think, again, a disclosure, we have coverage on Biocon. We've been waiting for a long period of time for the performance to come through. So let's hope this recovery that we are seeing is long lasting and the disappointment in form of earnings does not come through. Britannia, Berger Paints, again, consumption driven stories, extremely positive. One thing I would mention over here, Sakshi, was that last year we had a goddamn erratic monsoon. Very excess in some states, average in some, below normal to deficit in some states like UP, Maharashtra and Karnataka. And these three states are basically large sugarcane producers. And hence that, a whip from the government in terms of focus to sugar manufacturing rather than ethanol, etc. Now, again, but it was a one-off quarter, for some FMCG companies as far as demand from semi-urban and rural India, which impacted the volume growth and that translated into a by default the margin pressures. But we remain extremely positive on FMCG. भारत खपत से चलने वाला देश था, है और भविष्य में रहेगा. And large part of our population, 25%, is below the age of 30 and 28, which India will only double up. So remain positive.
Okay. Right. All right.
Sakshi, let's look at the
Yes,
high
sir.
beta space, how it's moving in terms of opening codes. Again, we have, Nika up 7%. So, it opened 20% higher. So, this is a fairly decent kind of an uptick, 170, 180. Remember, Idea Forge was up yesterday on a very strong set of numbers. It's moving 2.5% higher, 798. And surprise, surprise, Paytm is opening 2.6% higher at 463. These are stocks that need to be looked at. How about the rail space? You have IRFC trying to open 2% higher, 164. I forgot to mention that there are a lot of index circuit filter changes also for many stocks such as MSTC, such as RVNL. The names that I mentioned are super high beta stocks, therefore they need to be looked in that fashion. What else is opening weak? Okay, let's look at this. NLC India 3% lower, 274. GSFC 6% lower, 268. HPCL 2.2% lower, 524. Sakshi, in HPCL there will be a 15 rupee dividend readjustment, and that is what is getting reflected in the price. It's about 11.80 lower. We are waiting for Akshay Bhagwat to join us, Senior Vice President Derivative Research at JM Financial Services. He's with us. A very warm welcome to you, Akshay. Your presence, Gaurang's presence, and the Nifty has claimed back 22,000. What is the overall sentiment that you think is prevalent on Dalal Street, and your two top picks?
Yes. Good morning, Shailji. If you look at the last couple of trading sessions, there have been trading jerks near the all-time high levels. But the good part is that the FIIs have been buyers in index futures in this intraday sell-offs, which you have seen in the last couple of days. So the underlying strength of the market is very strong. It's just a sideways consolidation, which should break out on the upside above the all-time high. The way we are opening and the way the market is positioned, again, a retest of the all-time high and possibly new highs is what my understanding is. So the positive sentiment continues in the Nifty index. And as far as my two top picks goes for the day trading session or for short term, one would be Ambuja Cements, which has seen a positive uptick in yesterday's trade, support of around 560 odd tested, strong rebound in intraday session, setting up for an upside till around 580 odd levels. That's the first day trading target. Overall, my sense is it is hitting 600 plus. So you can buy Ambuja Cement with a stop loss below 560 for targets of 585 to 590. That's the first trade I have. And the second trade I would recommend is in the banking space. Since we have the bank policy on 8th of February, I would look at ICICI Bank, which closed around 1028 yesterday. I think it should it should test the all-time high levels till 1060 again. So I will buy ICICI Bank with a stop loss below around 1000 for a target of 1060.
Okay. Right. Very good morning to you, Akshay. Good to have you with us. Tell us, how would you really look at the OMC stocks? They have been on an upward run. Which is the most promising stock on charts that you really would bet big on now?
Well, it's been a dream run for the OMC companies. There is no stopping the way these stocks are moving in the last 3 days. But now this is a bit overbought for comfort if you are a day trader or if you want to time the move for the short term. So my sense is there can be a temporary cool off in the OMC stocks. That would be an opportunity to re-enter on the buy side. But, a dip would make me more comfortable. So ideally, out of the three OMC names, BPCL and IOC are the top bets I would have here. BPCL trading around 616 where it closed yesterday. A dip around 590, 595 gives more comfort to buy for an upside till around 630 from a trading perspective. And the second trade which I mentioned is IOC, which a possible dip again around 180 odd levels would give me comfort to re-enter on the buy side for targets of 195.
Okay. One more stock that I want to ask you, and then I'll throw it to Shail as well. Canara Bank that Shail mentioned, the board is going to consider stock split on February 26. The stock is opening almost 2% higher in the pre-open space. How would you look at Canara Bank now?
Yeah, the news is positive, and my sense is today it might be the day for banking stocks. The sense is Canara Bank should trade positive at the levels of 530, where the pre-opening suggests positive momentum might take it up till 545 to 550 from a short-term trading perspective. The support area is around 515. So yes, it is a buy candidate for short-term trading. I would be a buyer in Canara Bank even at the in the opening trades of the market.
Okay, let's get Gaurang into the conversation. The last fortnight, Gaurang, has been one of those golden periods for smaller PSU banks such as Central Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, Bank of India, all of them doing phenomenally well. Within this third rung of PSU banks, where does Geojit have strong coverage, and where do you still see value to be had?
So, Shail, I'll put a list in front of you in terms of the coverage universe that we have with respect to the public sector banks. State Bank of India, Canara Bank, Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, and PNB. The problem with us is that we believe the smaller banks, be it the likes of Indian Bank, be it the likes of Bank of Maharashtra, or any other small bank, the out of 4 quarters, you will have a stellar 1 or 2 quarters, and equally or more than disappointing the remaining 1 or 2 quarters. So that again, consistency is not there. That creates a problem for us in terms of comfort zone. On Indian Bank, we have a sell recommendation. We believe that the earnings and the price where the stock is trading is more than decently valued, rather overvalued. So this is what our sense is. We would rather stay with the 5 names that I've mentioned, rather than venturing into the follow the herd mentality of just because they have not run, they are running, over leverage happening, or weak hands trying to make the maximum of their investment, etc., etc. We would rather go with quality than quantity.
Okay, fair point. The other view, Gaurang, you mentioned was Ashok Leyland, strong set of earnings which defined this company. Any view on Tata Motors? Of course, you've been very, very positive, but has the stock overstretched itself now in the 900 territory? Earnings were, of course, fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Shell, that earnings were very good, in fact. And the next big trigger for the stock to re-rate itself would be how soon the process of reducing debt on the balance sheet and making it zero starts or kicks off at ground level. With the kind of run-up that we've seen on the stock from, I think it was somewhere close to about 800 not too long ago, towards 950, 960 possibly, where it touched the all-time high very recently. There could be a case of profit booking given the run-up in the immediate short term. From a long-term point of view, I think 1050, 1100 plus, I would not be surprised to see the stock hitting. And not to forget, in 2024, especially in the first 6 months and in the next 6 months, that is overall in that 12-month time period, you are going to see very interesting new launches from Tata Motors domestic brand as well as from JLR. And from commercial vehicle business, I think opportunities galore. So if you ask me whether one can book profits if you don't have the heart, or if you have a weak heart, if you think that there is going to be fear of profit booking, etc., you can book profits or stay invested if you have a long-term time plan.
Okay, the markets have opened 0.5% higher, and you can see 22,000 back on the screen with you. 22,036 right now, 109 points higher on the Nifty, and it's Britannia that's taking it away. The top mover on the Nifty, it's 2% higher right now. Axis Bank, State Bank of India, Asian Paints, HDFC Life are some of the top movers on the Nifty. Of course, sectorally the action looks pretty positive. All the sectors are now in the green. Realty and PSU banks as well as small caps. These are the top movers among the sectors. Nifty 500 stocks are looking at Adani stocks really taking it away. Adani Green, Total Gas. You also have Adani Energy that's moving up very, very sharply. 3M India, 361. Warm. All of these stocks are moving up in trade. As far as the F&O action is concerned, it's Berger Paints that after the earnings is one of the top movers that we are looking at. Of course, along with it, we are looking at Max Financial Services, ICICI Lombard, Canara Bank is among the other top movers. Shell, anything else that you spotted?
Yes, Sakshi, you have a green tick on the Bank Nifty, which is fairly good, 323 points higher. A flat opening on the IT and index at about 38,276. Nifty 500 is buzzing, which is really good, 20,162, which basically shows that the rally is widening itself. Now, what's ticking? Let's look at the most active counters. You have Steel Authority 146.70. On purpose, I'm looking at PSU stocks because that is where the maximum interest is. Indian Oil Corporation is 1.9% higher, 188. Let's shift focus to what is propelling the index higher. At the moment, you have a 0.5% uptick on HDFC Bank. We are looking at index heavyweights first. We are looking at Infosys, 0.5% lower, 1721. Let's look at what Reliance is doing. It's 0.5% higher at 2872. Sakshi, the good point is 9 out of 10 index heavyweights are in the green, which is a very big plus. I'll very quickly go to Akshay. Akshay, Canara Bank is taking it away, driven by very strong news of an impending split on February 26th. That's when the board will decide what is the level of the split. Very quick view on Canara Bank from you, 538.40.
Yes, as discussed, 545 to 547 might be the upside in day trading session. Broadly, the up is still positive. 575 is the slightly medium-term view I hold in Canara Bank. So yes, continue to buy even at the elevated level where it trades overbought, but the momentum is chasing the stock. So yes, a buy recommendation continues in Canara Bank.
Okay, another stock I'd like to mark is LIC of India. Fresh record high. It's consolidating at 1045. A very quick view, Akshay, from you on LIC of India.
LIC of India Life Insurance Corporation, it's a very strong chart. The momentum is chasing the stock at 1041. If I'm not mistaken, this is the stock, right? 1042 is where it trades. 1075 is the possible upside,
yes,
I foresee from the stock. Yeah, so 1075 is where I foresee the stock from a trading perspective. Yes, this is the target for which you hold for. As a fresh entrant, I think a level of 1025 would give me more comfort to take a trade on the buy side. So as a fresh buyer, wait for a slight dip till 1025. If you're already holding the stock, your targets are 1075.
Okay, another stock I'll mark, Paytm, 4.7% higher, 472.45. And Sakshi, as I have mentioned, it's the liquidity that is coming back into it. Now 24 lakh shares have been traded. Akshay, absolutely no pressure. Would you want to comment on Paytm?
It's going to be volatile because if you look at the strong surge of volumes which it has seen around the areas of around the 480 odd levels, there is where actually some major action is happening. There is where some demand is creeping gradually into the stock. But as I see, this is a volatile counter. It is very strictly a buy if you are, going for a slight bump up in trade of 3 to 4% upside. The risk is huge here, but if you're still you want to take a trade, a slight recovery is what I'm expecting because these levels of 480 470 is almost near the all-time low levels, and there is likely to be some bit of demand at these levels. So yes, a trading bump up which at the best can target around 495 to 515 on the upside. This will be temporarily short-lived trading bounce. So if you want to participate in that with strict stop losses below around 430, you can go for this buying trade.
Okay. EIH, let's look at that stock, taking it away after the earnings, a very strong momentum being seen. Of course, the operational profits did show a very sharp bounce of 55 odd percent. We also saw how the margins improved for the company, and now it's 12.5% higher at 400 odd levels. Gaurang, to you on EIH, what would you really advise investors after the earnings and a strong move out there? And, would you have a positive coverage here?
Actually, last week I was in Kolkata, and the hotel that I was staying in, stayed in that same hotel about 2 years back.
Mm-hmm.
That was just after COVID relaxation, etc. At that time, the room rate of that particular room, and recently when I went, the difference was almost about 18%. And my sense is that the room tariffs are going to go up another 15 to 20%. And that is exactly the verbatim that we've heard from most of the hospitality, companies management. I'll give you one small example. It's not a recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
Lemon Tree. Uh,
Yeah.
is the kind of hotels, the opening that they are lined up for the next 3 years, including Indian hotels as a disclosure where we have a coverage. They have also spoken about the number of properties and assets getting opened up in the next 3 to 5 years. Pravasi Bharat, Atithi Devo Bhava, government's push with respect to making a larger destination of our country in terms of tourism. You are going to have flows not only from the overseas but also the liking, especially after the huge uh, social media, uh, explosion with the trip that the prime minister had to one of the recent destinations, and a country was swiped off. The president is going to go through an acid test. So when these kind of things are happening, I think hotels and airlines industry are definitely going to do well. I would not comment specifically on buy, sell, and hold on AIH, but yeah, the future looks very bright for the hospitality sector.
Okay, let me toss the question to Akshay then. 12.5%. Would you chase the momentum on EIH purely on charts and for technical traders?
As a technical trader, yes, the momentum is very strong in this counter. A gap up and still the stock is on fire, you can say. But really, there is absolutely, I would not be more comfortable to take a buy trade here. Yes, I would trail my stops if I'm holding the stop to around 380. This momentum can at the best extend till 415. There is where I would look to book profits if I'm holding the stock. But as a fresh buy and trend, I would wait for the prices the dust to settle down before I commit my fresh buy trade.
Okay.
Sakshi, now I think we need to mark Canara Bank, and actually the whole set of PSU banking sector has really bounced very sharply. PNB is now at 125.45. Let me just see what the PSU banking index is doing. I'm sure this is the top gainer today. Okay, it's the second best gainer, 2.5% higher. 67.22 for you. All 12 stocks are in the green, and it's the trigger, which is Canara Bank, which is announced a stock split, and the ratio will be decided on February 26th. At the moment, Canara Bank is 5% higher. Remember, we caught it at 538 for you. Akshay gave a target of 545. It's at 547, ladies and gentlemen. Blowout as far as volume and price is concerned. We've already seen 36 lakh shares, 31 lakh shares traded on Canara Bank. This is about 25% volume of the last 5-day average. Indian Overseas Bank, no let up there. It was at about 48, 49 rupees 4 days ago, now 70 rupees, 4.6% higher. State Bank of India 2.7% higher, 667. Akshay, coming to you, any view on State Bank of India?
Well, PSU banks continue to be in the limelight. The State Bank has been a bit of a slow mover, more of consolidation. But if you see the opening trades today, it is clearly a breakout at the 660 zone. So that's a very powerful setup for day trading charts. A breakout above 660 might see a strong pickup in momentum in State Bank of India. The upside target should be around 690. That might be just in a couple of days. Intraday also you can look around 675 to 678 as your day trading target. So clearly a support base of 660 setup, that the stop loss should be below your support, and keep a target of 690 to 700 on a weekly basis in State Bank of India. It's a strong buy at the given junction.
Okay. Right, so that's as far as the banks are concerned. A lot of other stocks are moving up as well. One stock that just caught my attention is V-Mart Retail, 8.5% higher in trade. Akshay, if you track this stock, tell us, what you're looking at in this stock, and, is this a stock one can chase for momentum?
VMart Retail, again, yes, a momentum stock, but I believe since the opening trades, a very strong up move has been seen. Broadly, the targets which I foresee in VMart Retail, it works out till around 2400. That's from a trading perspective. A slight cool off till 2280 if you get maybe in day trades or maybe after a couple of days, makes it a more attractive buy because it's
Okay.
surged very strongly in the opening hour of trade. So fresh buy trade doesn't work out, but if you're holding it, 2400 is where I would target this stock.
Okay, Gaurang, to you on the retail space, how do you look at V-Mart Retail and this entire space? Are there any particular stocks that you're more bullish on?
So no specific comments with respect to buy, sell and hold on VMart, but
Okay.
yeah, if consumption is going to happen, Sakshi, we are going to go to the likes of DMart, Avenue Supermart, VMart, etc. And definitely the volumes are likely to go up. So if you are positive on FMCG, I don't see any reason why you should be underweight on retail stocks like VMart, etc., Avenue Supermart. So no comments, but yeah, the sector is promising. One stock in the peer competitor space that we have coverage on is Avenue Supermart, that is DMart.
Okay.
Okay.
Sakshi, I think EIH needs to be looked into. A very, very strong breakout happening here. Needless to say, this is a record high. And we have 409 for you, which is the highest ever. And it's a gap up that's happened. It's gaining strength. And the volume is beyond belief. We are just 7 minutes into trade, and already 30 lakh shares have been traded, which is 2 times the 5-day average of about 15 lakh shares. Paytm taking it away, 486.90 for you. Very, very strong volumes coming in. Let me just give you the volume that is on Paytm in terms of activity. Paytm at the moment is about 47 lakh shares, and let's look at the value here. Okay, the value is somewhere like 233 crores, and let's put it into perspective. At 233 crores, if you look at the positioning, it will be the fifth most active trading counter. It's all dominated by the PSU list. The top traded counter on NSE 500 is NHPC, followed by SBI, followed by Yes Bank, Indian Oil Corporation, and of course IOB. So that's the structure that we have so far. Anything that catches your interest, Akshay?
Well, I think it should be the day for PSU banks, considering the fact one is bank policy. And if you look at a couple of PSU bank, one is Canara Bank, which is the momentum is on the news, which you mentioned. And second, a technical breakout in State Bank of India. So I would be keen on chasing the PSU names if I'm a day trader or if I'm doing a BTST trade. So PSU banks, Bank of Baroda, Canara Bank, still, although it's strongly up, I would look for a slight dip of 3-4 odd rupees and re-enter the buy trade. State Bank of India again continues to be a buy even at the current levels. So PSU banks is the trade I would like to chase for day trading.
Okay. Right. Well, the other space, Akshay, that's moving is the entire real estate pack. I can look at strong momentum in DLF that's also buzzing in the F&O space, 3.5% higher. Phoenix Mills, Sobha Limited, Oberoi Realty, Prestige, all of them in momentum. How would you really look at the real estate sector at this point in time, Akshay?
Yeah, real estate sector has been buzzing. Just that since the last few trading sessions, it's been a bit off, but it's in a consolidation, setting up for another round of breakout. So DLF is one stock which has the strongest chart pattern amongst the entire pack. At trading at 826, possibly 860, 875 is the positional target I look forward to. Today it has given a breakout above the 800 level, so that's a positive development in DLF. And Oberoi Reality is the another stock you can have on your watch list. It's been beaten down in the last few trading sessions. In fact, a sharp fall has been seen. It's in a bottom formation, possible bottom formation at 1280 odd levels. Maybe it's in the accumulation stage. It's in the process of building a possible bottom. I foresee targets till 1400 in Oberoi Reality. So if you are keen on bottom fishing in the reality space, Oberoi Reality can be the name. And for chasing momentum, it has to be DLF.
Okay. Gaurang, how would you look at the real estate space, especially right ahead of the RBI policy? Although the street is not expecting much to come out from this policy, what are your expectations and how will the market react to the announcements tomorrow?
So according to the reports, Sakshi, after uh, agri sector, real estate sector is one of the largest employment generating sector in India. And there is definitely a lot of hope, and the changes in terms of regulation that has been put in place has indeed been successful in bringing a lot of discipline in the real estate sector, which otherwise was a bad boy of the market. The bad boy tax has gone off, but the high beta tax still remains. Uh, Advice with a disclaimer that in a good market it will outperform, in a bad market it will equally underperform. And possibly it will be one of the first casualties in a falling market. But having said that, we like names like Godrej Properties, DLF, Prestige Estates, to name a few, Oberoi Realty, to name a few, in the real estate sector. And these three or four companies actually have virtually negligible debt or zero debt, which is going to be a high priority in analyzing fundamentally a real estate company. And at the same time, they have a very decent run rate, better than industry standards in terms of completing a project and handing over the assets. So it is a sector to definitely keep an eye on. With respect to credit policy, I think in early to expect a rate cut, but as and when it happens, or even a status quo, translates into positivity for the real estate sector.
Okay, Sakshi, I think we need to mark a couple of stocks. First and foremost, let's look at Paytm. Uh, there is some part of the market that believes the pain that you saw was more than enough to discount RBI's anger, and from a low of 395, the counter is now at 486. Remember, the low was yesterday in pre-open, and the stock has seen about somewhere like a 50% erosion in its price over the last 1 week. So strong volume coming in. We are on purpose not taking a technical call because there is so much of hectic activity on it. We are marking this price. A very strong move is coming in on the entire PSU basket, and Akshay was very clear that it is going to be a PSU banking day. I do not wish to mark this stock, but because the volume is so high and it looks so super overstretched on the chart, Indian Overseas Bank, ladies and gentlemen, 7260, it's just running away as far as prices are concerned. This is a price that you saw last in July of 2014. So it's a 10-year breakout on a very sharp uptick as far as volumes are concerned. and price action right there in front of you. Also moving in sync with the IOB is UCO Bank. These are, remember, low ticket items that Gaurang has mentioned should be stayed away from. We are marking the price and that's it, 61.70 for you, and this is the last price was seen in July of 2015. So 5 plus 4, a 9-year high on UCO Bank and a 10-year high on Indian Overseas Bank. Also clicking is Union Bank of India, a very strong move at about 150.10, and this is a price last seen in January of 2018. So 2 plus 4, 6. 6-year high, 9-year high and 10-year high for you, Sakshi, respectively, on Union Bank, UCO Bank and Indian Overseas Bank.
Absolutely. So those are the momentum stocks. What we'll do is we'll take a very quick break right here, and when we return, we'll discuss more stock ideas with both our guests, Gaurang and Akshay, on the other side. So stay with us, viewers.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
In today's rapidly evolving business environment, when risk is omnipresent, managing risks is no longer just about ticking a few boxes. Businesses need to maintain a panoramic view of risks to stay ahead of the curve. Join us to explore how organizations can rethink risk to unlock new possibilities and become fit for future. At PwC presents De-Risking the Future in collaboration with Business Today. Celebrate 32 years of leadership in business news with Business Today. From the groundbreaking AI cover of Sundar Pichai to PM Modi's exclusive on G20, we redefine headlines. Now our 32nd anniversary issue explores India 2029, the 5-year agenda with industry titans sharing exclusive insights. So, just BT it for unparalleled perspectives. Business Today, 32 years of leadership, innovation and business brilliance. Subscribe now.
Welcome back. You're watching Market Today on Business Today Television. I'm Sakshi, with me Shail Bhatnagar, and we're in conversation with two of our special guests today, Gaurang Shah as well as Akshay Bhagwat, who are with us and helping us navigate through the markets. 22,011 for the Nifty, 82 points higher in trade. It's looking a bright green screen right in the morning trade. And of course, Paytm is one stock that we need to mark, now 9.5% higher in trade. 21 lakh shares have exchanged hands. There's a big block deal. 0.3% of an equity has been exchanged worth 103 crores, and that's leading to this momentum now. 490 currently for Paytm, and we'll continue to mark this stock for you as to how the prices are moving. And we've already discussed with both of our guests and their views on Paytm already. But let's look at some of the other moving parts as well. Akshay, the mid-cap 100 index is again at record levels today. There is no let-up in this broader market rally that we have been seeing unfold over the last 8 months odd. How would you really look at these particular stocks in the mid-cap basket? Any pick that you can share with us from the mid-cap space specifically, where you still see a lot of momentum that can be chased?
Well, it's been a one-way momentum the mid cap space, and the momentum continues to chase. There is no stopping this index, and stocks are continuing to register new highs, gain momentum. That's the story, and you need to be where the momentum is. So here, the new age companies, I still would like to chase them. If you look at Zomato, Nykaa, these are some of the stocks from the mid cap space which hold strong promise the way they trade. So Zomato, which trades at 141, it's been quiet in last couple of days, but I believe the momentum should regain for the stock to cross 150 plus. So consider Zomato, keep it on your buy watch list. Your support is around 135, and the target area you work with is 150 plus. And Nykaa, which is already up today with a strong uptick. I believe this momentum is still strong, although we have seen some profit taking from the upsides. I believe the support of 160 is where has been already charted by the prices, and we should see another round of momentum picking up soon in this screen.
Sakshi, I'd like to draw attention to traders to EIH hotels. Again, now 420, 440. I think we'll need to check what the circuit is on this one, because it's what it has done is that it sparked a rally across the board. Therefore, Indian Hotels is at 515 days high. You see a very strong traction coming in Lemon Tree. Royal Orchid Hotels is doing pretty good. Let's look at the Indian Hotels stock in terms of what the circuit limit could be. Okay, the circuit on Indian, this is okay. I'm so sorry, East India Hotels. 1 second, please. EIH Limited is what I'm watching. Is 426. So we are just there. It's almost 423.40, 424.40. So nothing much can be had from there. But one stock, Gaurang, that's turned out to be a disappointment. It's been Bajaj Finance. Sadly, in a market which is at a record high on the main indices, you see Bajaj Finance valuing below 200 DMA. What do you think is the problem with the stock at about 6,700? This is the lowest that we have seen since mid 2023. Your view on Bajaj Finance?
Not only Bajaj Finance, Shail, but even SBI Card is also a similar stock, and that is largely because of the margin requirement on the unsecured loans, which was inked up from 100 to 125. And for Bajaj Finance, especially, the numbers were disappointing for the third quarter. There was a little bit of concern, if I recollect right, on the second quarter as well. Then, of course, you had the buyback, if I'm not mistaken. News flow shall correct me if I'm wrong. And also the fund generation of almost in excess of 8,500 crores. It's a knee-jerk reaction, Shail. As a disclosure, we have positive coverage on Bajaj Finance from a long-term point of view. There are two aspects that needs to correct itself. That is the overhang in terms of higher provisioning of 125% on unsecured loans book, and post that the loan book growth by the virtue of the funds that they have borrowed from the market. I think it's possible. It may be a painful affair for yet another quarter, that is fourth quarter. But from the new financial year, 1st April 2024, I think there should be a meaningful improvement.
Okay. Well, on that note, thanks a lot, Gaurang, for being with us on this very special edition, and like always, sharing such wonderful insights with all our viewers. Always a pleasure to host you with us. Hope you have a fantastic day and the rest of the week ahead, and we will see you next week too. Let's get back to discussions with Akshay now. And Akshay, a lot of stocks buzzing in trade. We were discussing with Gaurang on LIC as well. How do you look at this entire insurance space that is now suddenly in the buzzing zone? Not just LIC, but HDFC Life, SBI Life, GIC Ray, New India Assurance, everything is moving in this space. And now we are also looking at some of the regulatory news flow coming in, some of the companies being taken over, especially with respect to Kotak Mahindra Bank, their own general insurance. There is a takeover that is being announced as well. IREDA talking to all of these companies and speaking to them as to how they can increase FDI flows from their counterparts as well. How would you really look at this space now?
Yeah, you rightly said the life insurance space has been buzzing lately. And if you look at the broader chart setups in the stocks from this sector, most of them are on the verge of a consolidation break. So, yes, this is the next sector to have on your buy watch list. And this can be one story which can be strongly brewing up for a strong upside. Even if you look from a budget perspective, there were no negatives because I believe last year there were some negatives which the market did not take very well for the life insurance space. This year, no news is considered, no bad news is good news. So the life insurance space is buzzing. And here, my topic would be SBI Life Insurance, which trades at around 1482. I'm considering a strong breakout, which may happen very soon above the levels of 1500, which may see targets of 1575, slightly from a positional perspective with a 1 month holding. So consider SBI Life as a buy trade. Your stop loss will be below 1400, target 1575 on the upside.
Okay. Sakshi, what we'll do is we'll just take a quick detour to the FNO space. The reason why I mentioned this is that the advanced decline ratio in the FNO is very, very strong. 133 stock futures are up compared with 52 that have slipped into the red. Now let's mark the markets in terms of the best gainers. And surprise, surprise, Canara Bank is the top stock that you need to look at. It's also the top gainer at about 4% in FNO, 544, and this is accompanied by a very sharp surge in open interest, 3.1%. What's in pain? Sakshi, it's Navin Fluorine. Earnings have disappointed, 4.5% lower. This is the top loser on the FNO space, 3115. And what's really a pain point here is that it is accompanied by a very, very sharp rise in open interest, 22%. So this is a pain point. Berger is taking it away in terms of fresh OI addition, 18%, although not much of an impact in terms of stock price. Now, Sakshi, comes the most interesting thing. Look at the most active futures. State Bank of India in terms of stock futures is the most active, 18,340 contracts. The second one is Bank of Baroda. 10,000 contracts have been traded, and the third one is, of course, Navin Fluorine. Very, very heavy sales coming into Navin Fluorine at this point of time. Let's analyze Canara Bank for a while. Let's see what is this price point in terms of then the monthly chart. Okay, Sakshi, very interesting. We have a trajectory which was last seen in May of 2011. So that's 9 plus 4. It's a 13-year breakout on Canara Bank.
Wow.
The all-time high is, of course, much, much higher, 813. And this is driven by news that the board will meet on, let me just reconfirm the date. I remember distinctly it was February 26th for a stock split. So that's what's happening, Sakshi, on Canara Bank, driven by very heavy volumes in cash, very heavy volumes in futures, and of course a blowout in price, highest in since 2011. Sakshi.
Wonderful. So that's as far as Canara Bank and the wonderful insight that and analysis that Shail has given us. That gives us a lot of perspective on the stock as well. Akshay, to you now. A lot of moving parts again in the markets. We've discussed a whole lot on the PSU banks, the royalty space, the mid caps as well. Let's now focus on the Adani Group stocks. There is a fresh momentum here on the entire pack. Would you look at any of the stocks here positively at this current momentum?
Yeah, definitely. Adani Group's the broader chart structure is very strong, and even if you look at the kind of a rebound which it has seen lately, the all the negatives are out from the stock. There is a fresh long additions in the futures and option space, and the chart structure really looks promising. But I would suggest that if you are taking a buy in any of the Adani Group, consider it from a positional perspective. The gains are tremendous, but from a short-term perspective, there might be some bit of a volatility or temporary sideways or a downtick. So Adani Enterprise and Adani Power, these are my top bets in this pack. Adani Ports is already a bit overstretched for comfort, so I would be keen from the FNO space. It has to be Adani Enterprises, which eventually can again aim for its lifetime high levels till around 4,000. It may take a couple of months, but that's where I'm targeting Adani Enterprises. And Power, which I mentioned, that's the another stock you can consider. Power space has been buzzing, and I believe the way this setup is, easily 625 is what the target I foresee in Adani Power going ahead.
Okay, Adani Power there. Right, let's look at a few large cap stocks now, Akshay, and see if there is anything that investors can look at over here. The finance names have been in momentum, so both the Bajaj twins, Bajaj Finance, Bajaj Finserv are moving up. We're looking at a lot of earnings momentum getting rewarded. Max Financials, for example, there's a results impact. It's up by 2% as well in the broader market space. But how would you really look at the NBFC space as of now? We've discussed the PSU banks right now, but the NBFCs, is there anything interesting here?
Here Muthoot Finance is one stock which I can look from the NBFC space. Muthoot Finance trading at around 1398 has some momentum slowly brewing up. Some buying additions noted in the last couple of days, slowly building up a momentum. So from a trading perspective, yes, the momentum is chasing the PSU banks still now. Maybe from a trading perspective, a slight bump up till 1500 cannot be ruled out. So if you are looking at the NBFC space, the best chart structure as of now for me is Muthoot Finance.
Okay. Right.
Sakshi, I think something is buzzing on Tata Power. Of course, it's actually energy led. Therefore, you see Adani Green at 1810. Adani Green, let me just share. You both of you have marked the Adani stocks, but let's look at a different perspective on them. Green is up 1835, 6.5% higher. Adani Power is flat, okay. Adani Total Gas is up 3.5% at 1032, and Tata Power is has just changed a digit. It's reclaimed 400 for its long-term shareholders. Needless to add that it's vacillating near all-time highs. The previous all-time high was 402. There are not much of volumes on this one, Akshay, but what are the charts of Tata Power telling you?
See, the power space has been buzzing, and I believe still momentum is there to be chased. NTPC, Tata Power, Power Grid, all these have fantastic chart structure. Tata Power is the best among them. Consider buying from a positional perspective, still a long way to go. 425 is the medium term target. The support area is working to around 375. Yes, Tata Power should be the best pick among the power space. Still a lot of room on the upside left in the power space. So yes, this sector should be buzzing going ahead.
Okay, and Canara Bank now, which Shell has been constantly watching out, it's now at a 550 kind of a level. It's a blowout that's happening on Canara Bank, and one needs to continue to keep an eye out on this one. 5.5% higher day's high level for Canara Bank. We'll continue to watch out for this one, and this clearly can be seen as the superhero stock of the day as well. And of course, this is led by the news flow on the stock split that the company is looking at as well. There's okay, so let's look at Paytm again. I think it's another, it's now 10% higher in trade. Remember, over the last 3, 4, 5 odd sessions, we'd been looking at constant, lower circuits. There was buying that happened yesterday. Of course, it rose about 5-6%, and this is now the first circuit after those consecutive lower circuits that's not now on the upper end as well on Paytm. Right now, it's a very, very strong move that you're looking at, and now let's see how this goes forward from here. Would this mean that the consecutive upper circuits now will take place is something that we will have to continue to keep an eye out on. But 496, a remarkable recovery from the lows yesterday that we saw, Shail.
Yeah, Sakshi. So again, let me just put it into perspective. We are only and only marking price action.
Yes.
There is no invitation to get into this stock. In fact, we are desisting from doing that because it is a price action on the green side. We are marking that. Even on the red side, we've marked. And if you look at the volume on Paytm, Sakshi, it's now about 676 crores. The 5-day average is 800 crores. So the good part again, as I mentioned, that liquidity brings in perspective. If you have successive lower circuits without any volume, then there is hardly any exit for a shareholder who does not want to be a part of the company. And on its way up, you are seeing the same thing. We have a buy circuit of 8,67,000 shares at 496.25. So because the circuit filters were changed, it is now a 10% circuit either way, up or down. Let us see how it moves. But for the moment, the maximum that it could do during the day has been done. This is the highest it can hit intraday today. Let's see how it moves. It can of course move lower as well. People can make profit on this one as well. But this is how it is. And Sakshi, before we end this day, I'd just like to point out an increase of workload for you, me, the entire team, as well as all brokers and analysts such as Akshay. Association of National Stock Exchange members, board has given an in principle approval to extend trading hours for index futures.
Oh, okay.
This is something that is coming in the media, and this essentially means, Sakshi, that you will have index futures trading beyond 3:30, so that local players can have a go at news that comes after market hours. Sakshi.
Okay, with that, we'll start wrapping up the markets for this session. 22,000 on your screens, ladies and gentlemen, on the Nifty. Panning out to be a good set of sessions so far, 70 odd points higher in trade. And we are looking at all the sectors that are buzzing pretty positively, and there is buying happening all across the board, barring just about slight losses that are coming in on the IT pack. Remember, IT was the one that was roaring in yesterday's trading session, so some profits being taken off the table. PSU banks 2.5% higher, turning out to be a PSU bank kind of a deal, just like how Akshay pointed out. Realty stocks follow, 2.3% up in trade. Oil and gas continue to be in momentum. It's the OMC stocks that are roaring high at record levels. The broader markets, small cap and the mid caps, also up by about 0.6%, 0.8% each respectively. Now, when we talk about the private banks, they are just 0.2% higher. The Nifty bank 0.5% higher in trade. So the banking stocks are definitely supporting the move in trade today. SBI is the top mover on the Nifty at this point in time, 2.5% upside. And if you would have followed the entire market today shows over the last 1 week, at least 3 of our guests have mentioned SBI as their top picks. And finally, the stock is moving up. HDFC Life, Coal India, Axis Bank, BPCL, Sun Pharma, Bajaj Finserv, Bajaj Finance, the top movers on the Nifty right now. What's not participating in this up move? It's Infosys, HCL Technologies, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, the IT pack among the top 5-6 losers. These are the stocks that are not participating. Eicher Motors, Power Grid, the other laggards at this point in time. Canara Bank, clearly, we have been mentioning this stock right from the time the news came in. 5.5% higher in the FNO space. Clearly the most buzzing stock in the FNO action. And keep an eye out on the Adani Group stocks in the broader markets. They are taking it away, especially Adani Green Energy now, 11% higher in trade. 5% move on Adani Total Gas. Adani Energy 5.5% higher. Wilmar up 3.5% up in trade. Adani Power up 2%. as well. A very strong momentum that is being generated in the Adani Group stocks as well. So with that, we will wrap up this special edition. Shail, thanks a lot for being with us on this special edition, and we will catch you all very, very soon, as a lot of earnings interactions will follow through the course of this trading session. We will also help you understand about the primary markets in our special videos on demands as well, and live editions, and of course the closing trades when we will get with our top market experts again to help you understand which way are the markets headed. So do stay tuned. A lot of action to follow on your screens right after this too.
Darwin Platform Group of Companies is one of the fastest growing diversified Indian conglomerates with global footprints. It is setting up offices globally and tying up with companies across the globe from multiple sectors. The company has ventured into real estate and construction, stockbroking and finance, arms and ammunition, mining, airlines and many other sectors.
You're watching BTTV and I'm joined by Mr. Parag Rao, who is the country head of payments, liabilities products, consumer finance and marketing at HDFC Bank.